Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Lectures of Fallen Wisdom. Today I must go back to the original lecture, the first one, to remind you that your only job is to breathe deeply. That is your purpose. That is your teleological aim. Nothing else. If you do not accomplish that layer of existence, you cannot move on to any other layer. You must master this. And it's a skill. It's something that nobody's doing. Nobody's trying just to breathe as deeply as they can the whole day through. What they're doing is they're going about their life, they're treating breath as some secondary thing, as if it wasn't the gas, the energy that is driving everything. You have to tend to your engine, and you have to figure out how your regulator works, and it works like that. It works with oxygen. The more oxygen you get by second nature, the more oxygen you train your body to take in on a regular basis unconsciously, the higher your engine will perform, the higher your mind will perform. That's all that matters. It's just that simple, and nobody's mastering that first. You master that first. It takes years of wandering around doing aimless jobs for some people, but then they master it and they emerge. And that's when you get to the next level, is when you are second nature, taking in twice as much oxygen as everybody else. That is the definition of a superhero. You want to know what creates all these exceptional humans? It's oxygen level. I bet you if you measured the oxygen of anybody who did something exceptional, it would be much higher. Do you want to live in a low oxygen world? The low oxygen world is very difficult. There's like economic hardship. People are talking about leveling the playing field because of so much income disparity. That's all part of the low oxygen world, my friend. All those thoughts of comparison, forget it. All the thoughts of getting angry at people, low oxygen, man. Because the more oxygen you take in, the less angry you are, the less you give a shit about the pettiness of the world. So do it. Walk around, figure out how to just take in. Forget everything else. Don't do shit. Take a few weeks off of work just to learn how to fucking breathe. Because guess what? They didn't train you. In fact, they try to train it out of you. You're born breathing very heavily, very high, and they try to fuck with you with different little, the Scientologists call them engrams. It's just ways, psychic scars, that every time you encounter them, your breathing kind of shallows a little bit. And you have to start it up again. You have to be like, okay, I'm going to breathe again. And you constantly are having to restart your engine like some shitty fucking car that won't run. So let's get the car running. Let's let the motor idling. And that's at a high level. We're talking, and you can never take in too much oxygen. You're going to get a little lightheaded when you finally do. But let me just tell you, the best way to take in oxygen is to talk, is to give a speech. That's one of the best and most regulated forms of oxygen you can get. As you communicate to people, as I do this podcast, I am regulating my oxygen levels at a perfect height. For some reason, the relaying of information is, or any kind of art, often will be commensurate. If it's going right, it will be commensurate with the perfect level of oxygen for life and for advancement. Of course, not all talk is going to fall into that category. It has to be striking a chord. It has to be tapping into some deep, deep truth. And that's what all great art and all great wisdom does. But make no mistake, it didn't get there without a ton of oxygen. And how much are you taking in? How much are you just like letting your breath just kind of crawl along? Take in the minimum amount that you need. All you people who want to lose weight, you're carrying around all that extra weight. That's because you haven't pumped that out of you. Oxygen pumps fat out of you. Did you know that? People don't realize that too. Are you fat? Well, then start breathing, because then you will start pumping the fat out in the form of air. Believe me, try it. You want to be, you don't need, and that's why exercise is good, because it gets you to a point where you're breathing at a level that you really, that's really good for you. When you run and you get that really, that's the best. And you can feel it, and you're high on it. But you can be high on it all day, my friend. So if you need to drink some coffee or whatever just to get up there, fine. But ultimately, you should be able to rely on nothing but the breath. Because all these other things, like drugs and intoxicants, they're all just there to get you back to this and to remind you. They're not there to be taken every day just so you can, like, find your breathing again. So try this. Try getting off all drugs and breathe sober. Just take deep breaths sober. Measure your progress each day. Evaluate, how much did I breathe? Like, how much oxygen did I take in, really, like, compared to what I could have? And you'll start to get a sense of it. You'll get a sense of when you're not breathing, and you'll start to see, wow, like, I really don't breathe. I barely take in enough oxygen to live. And then they wonder why people die so quickly. And yet in the Bible, they were living to like 500. Anyway, we'll get into more theories about that. But just remember, it's the backbone of all wisdom. It's the backbone of all achievement, is achieving a certain level of oxygen. And it ain't easy, and it takes practice. It takes practice outside of the grind. Then you slowly dip your head into the grind. So after about a week of just only practicing making sure that you breathe constantly all day long, then you try going to the store while doing that. And you see how difficult it is. The minute you get distracted, guess what stops? Your breathing. And this is a society that is built on distraction. Distraction that is lethal if it's interrupting your breath. Hey, you can be distracted, but you won't be if you're fucking taking in a lot of oxygen. I think I've beat this horse to death, but I will beat it continually until I'm always talking to myself here, because I forget this. You can talk about all kinds of other theories, but if you're not taking in that oxygen, you're basically useless. In the next show, I will be starting the Logan novel, which is a look into an adventure by a man named Logan. I'm not sure how true it is. I've gotten a lot of different evidence in either way, and I will discuss all that. But I will start the first chapter in the next episode. So look forward to that. We're going to be talking about time travel and a certain time traveler from the future. All right, anybody, you want to get at me? You want to email me? I'm Logan from the future